Hi, I'm Eekta. I'm a ceramic artist, and today I am at the Waterloo Potter's Workshop showing new members how to manage the moisture in their freshly made pots. So when we work with clay, we usually think about the clay in 3 stages. The first one is plastic clay, which is fresh out of the bag and is really soft. It's easy to bend it, no cracks. After that is soft leather hard. This is when you have put it away for a bit to stiffen up, and then you get a piece that looks very stiff, but it's actually still very soft. If you want to work on it, you can work on it still, but you have to still be very careful not to still support it. I have some pieces drying here under this sheet of plastic. These are leather hard because you can still work on it, you can still squeeze it a little bit, clean it up. It's a perfect stage for carving, adding details and cleaning up your piece. These cups here are an example of bone dry pieces. They're supposed to be warm to the touch, they shouldn't be cold. If they're cold, then that means there's still moisture in there. These would be ready for the kiln, for the bisque firing. Now I'll demonstrate how I make a simple piece and put it away for drying. Any material you use has an influence on your moisture. So if I use this mold, which is a bisque mold, it's just a bowl you can use. This will draw moisture out much faster than this one, which is just a plastic or a bamboo bowl bought from the supermarket, covered with a piece of old t-shirt. And the same is true for if you work on a board like this, plasterboard, or on a mat like this. This is slower. So depending on how quick you want to work or how stiff you want your clay, as you can see here, you choose what you want to work on. So I'll make a very simple mold, ball. I'll just trace around this ball. Doesn't need to be precise. Put it on, and because this mold is a bisque mold, this will dry much faster. So I'm going to put this piece away for today, and I want it to stay exactly in the same state of dryness for the next time I'm working on it. And because of that, I cannot leave it on the bisque mold, because it will dry too fast and too much. So this board that we have used before, we know it also draws the moisture out of our clay. So I need to cover it with something that is waterproof, like just a piece of plastic. And then I'll take my piece and put it on there. And I think the best thing to use for this situation is empty clay bags. They're just the bags the clay comes in. You can rinse them out and use them for anything. It's really thick and it keeps in or out all the moisture. It's perfect. So I'll put it in there. And if you wrap it up well like this, it will stay good for a real long time. And this is also how I put away slabs that I want to use later. So when your piece moves on to the next stage, you can start with wrapping it more lightly. Like here you can see the finished mugs by Helen. They have already their handles attached. So they do need to dry evenly and slowly, but we don't need to wrap them completely because we don't need to work on it any longer. So put it lightly, so it dries evenly, and then at some point, probably in a day or two, we can just take this off and it can completely dry by itself, and it will be like the pieces on top. A very tricky thing to work with is flat pieces. Even small flat pieces will probably warp a little bit or crack. So there's a trick to that if you want to make ornaments, for example, or little tiles. I'll show how you can dry that evenly. So I'll just make a few simple forms here. As you can see, this clay has already stiffened up a bit from being on the board. So to dry them flat, you can put them on a dry board like this. And then put another board on top. And then once in a while you just flip the boards, check your pieces, put it back on, and they will dry evenly. Thank you for joining us today. In addition to the techniques we just saw, there are some other factors that influence the drying of your piece. One of them is the thickness of your work, the complexity of your piece, of course, and another factor that we don't always have control over is the humidity of the environment. Most important is to keep in mind that, especially when you're new at all this, to dry as slow as possible. This way you are always sure your piece is coming out safe and without cracks. Thank you.